All right, so yesterday we talked about how elements came together and made compounds, and that how you had to have two or more elements to make a compound and stuff. So today we're going to kind of discuss some notes that you're going to see, and in class we're going to go over it probably together and do the reading notes together. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to go real quick with y'all through it. What I'm going to start with is you should have got the half sheet that was at the beginning of this Edpuzzle. You should have downloaded it real fast. We're not going to take a grade on this one, but you're going to need to know these in order for you to be able to continue on with basically compounds, inorganic and organic compounds, and just knowing what a molecule is and things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this up on the overhead, and we're going to look at it some more, and we're going to discuss some of these things. All right? So let me grab my paper. So compounds and chemical formulas. And ours in class is pink. Y'all's probably is not going to be pink. It's probably going to be white. We just like to print notes on different sheets of paper so that way we have easier to find them in class. I can say go get your purple notes, go get your pink notes, and stuff like that. And the kids, we recycle the colors, different topics and stuff, and it's easier for them. So we're going to look at compounds and chemical formulas, all right? And when I'm looking at these compounds and chemical formulas, if I'm going to say that something is an element, when I looked on my periodic table, I only see one capital letter in each one of these boxes. You'll never see two capital letters. So I know that it has to at least have one capital letter in it. All right, so an element, I'm just going to write a little note here. One capital letter. This is just kind of a little quick reference for me, all right? An element, though, is one type of atom. All right? It can be a pure substance, meaning that it's at its original form. We could find it in nature, or it'll be the one that's man-made, but everything is neutral in this element, okay? So my protons and my electrons are going to be the same number. My neutrons, now remember, some elements, your neutrons are going to be different because those are called isotopes. Those are still an element. It's just a special kind of element. It's called an isotope with its different number of neutrons than it has. All right? Some examples of an element. That's basically anything on my periodic table. All right, anything on my periodic table, I could list them. Hydrogen, sodium, anything on there, it doesn't matter. All right, a compound we discussed has two or more capitals. So a compound is going to be when two or more elements chemically combine. All right, so I could look at examples of those. H2O. All right, they're chemically combined. I could write down water, just name it as water. But when I put my chemical formula down there, I'm going to definitely see that. We had Al2O3, aluminum oxide yesterday. Okay? Molecule. All right, now this one's going to be a little bit harder because a molecule can have one capital or two capitals. Okay? So with my molecule, I could have one or two and more capital letters. And you're sitting there going, okay, that doesn't make sense to me. Well, all a molecule is when you have more than one atom. So it's more than one atom. Okay? So if I had O2, I know my subscript of 2 meant that I had 2 oxygen atoms together. That's still a molecule because I have 2 atoms. It's just an element molecule. Okay, so it's an element, but it's a molecule of oxygen because I only have 1 capital letter making it an element. I could have NaCl, and that's still a molecule because I have 1 sodium and 1 chlorine. That makes 2 atoms, and that still gives me what I have to have, more than 1 atom. All right, then it says, what is a mixture? A mixture is a blended substance that you can take apart. So it's any substance, any blended substance that can be taken back apart. Okay, so what we like to do is say that, you know, water and food coloring, sweet tea, things like that, it can be taken back apart. When I color water, right, my water can dissolve and come out of it, and my food coloring will be left at the bottom. Okay, sweet tea is a great example of this because that'll be pulled out and you'll just still have the sugar in the bottom of the pitcher of tea or in the glass of tea. So the water can dissolve, or not dissolve, but evaporate. I don't know why I said dissolve. I'm so sorry, both times it should be evaporate. And then it can come out. All right, what is an organic compound? Now this is a big deal. It's something, organic means that it was made from once living substances. Okay? Made from once living substances. Okay? When I look at it, my elements that have to be in there, every single time that have to be in there, are going to be carbon and hydrogen. You have to have both of these in there to be an organic compound. All right, so if you don't see a carbon and hydrogen atom in there, then it's not organic. If I only see carbon, it's not organic. It has to have both of them to be organic. All right, because we need both of those elements in there to be once living. And inorganic, so I'm looking at number 12 here. I'm just going to skip down. An inorganic compound was never living. So it never lived. All right, what types of elements create inorganic compounds? Basically anything that is not hydrogen and carbon. All right, so anything not any and carbon. Okay, if it doesn't have that, then it's going to be considered an inorganic compound. All right, 11 said, what other elements can bond with the elements from number 10 to form organic? Really, any nonmetals can form with it. All right, any nonmetals can form with carbon and hydrogen to be part of an inorganic compound. So, or be part of an organic compound. All right. Now, you were supposed to be able to look at these in this chart above it and just kind of put them in based on if they're an element, molecule, or compound. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to look. CH subscript of 4. I know it can't be an element because it has 2 capital letters in it. It can be a molecule because look, it has 1 and 4, which is 5. So I can put it here. And it can be a compound because it has 2 capital letters. All right. Fe. Well, it's an element because there's only 1 capital letter. It cannot be a molecule because it only has 1 atom of it. There is no subscript. and it can't be a compound because it only has one capital. Pb, lead, it can be an element. There's only one capital of it. It cannot be a molecule because we only have one atom of it, so it doesn't qualify for that. And it can't be a compound because it only has one capital letter. Capital I subscripted 2 is an element because it has one capital letter. It can be a molecule also because it has 2 iodine in it, but it cannot be a compound because, again, one capital letter. H2O, 2 capitals, so it has to be a compound. But it can be a molecule because I have 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen, that makes for 3. O2, again, 1 capital letter, so it is an element, but it has 2 as a subscript, so it has 2 atoms of it, so it'll fall right here with molecule. Again, 1 capital means it's not a compound, no compound. Capital K, only 1 capital, so it's an element. It cannot be a molecule because look, there is no subscript. There's no little number. That means I only have 1 potassium atom. So it's just an element. And then AU, same thing. There's only 1 capital letter, so it's only an element. And there's no subscript, so it's not a molecule. All right? So what you're going to do is you're going to take this and you're going to put these notes in because they're going to be a quick reference for us to go back and look at. If you have any questions, just shoot us an email. Make sure you do your spiral review at the end of this ed puzzle and submit it for your attendance and for your grade. If you haven't done the spiral reviews for the rest of the week, you need to go watch the ed puzzles and make sure you do. Bye.